Hello everyone. Welcome to this interactive session on Is Antivirus Dead or Just Missing in Action? This webinar will focus on the comparison between traditional and next generation security solutions. Here I would like to introduce the presenter for today's session, Mr. Rajesh Nikam. Rajesh Nikam is working as a senior manager, Threat Research and Response Team with Quickheal Technologies Limited, India. He has over 16 years of experience in security software development, reverse engineering and malware analysis. Rajesh presented at AWAR, Association of Antivirus Asia Researchers in the years 2010, 11, 13 and 2016. He has extensive experience on automated malware clustering and classification, automated signature generation and threat intelligence. With this, I am handing over the proceedings of this webinar to Rajesh.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rajesh Nikam, working as a senior manager with Quickheal Threat Research and Response Team. So, agenda for the today's webinar is, so these are the high-level points. First, we'll try to understand what is traditional AV and what are next-gen security products. Then I'll discuss 5 security myths that in general people fall prey for. And then I'll sharing some interesting happenings on VirusTotal front. I have done small experiment with VirusTotal that shows how next-gen AVs are exposed for their sky high claims, and then we have big task to drive away the smog that is created by the hype of next-gen products, followed by conclusion. Okay, so the first, this is I'm sure that each one of you must have heard or read these kind of headlines. They come in different tones and hues. They're either supporting or contradicting views, like uh, uh, antivirus isn't dead, but it just can't keep up. On the other side, we hear like protect yourself from antivirus, or the claim like finally you can ditch your antivirus. Yes, these are favorite sales lines, and I think the claims that AV is dead, they are coming from those who have agenda to promote maybe their new products and security offerings, or they're coming from PR and marketing persons who need to compare or demonstrate how their new products and services they are better and effective as compared to their existing ones. So to target potential customers, they want to show that how their new products they are based on really innovative ideas, and I do agree that it is really required to innovate and come up with new products based on changing security environment and evolving threat landscape and rising above the old ideas and perceptions. But in last few years, there is a flood of such claims by many companies that traditional antivirus is there. I'll say at times they have some limited understanding about what are different types of malware threats, and they don't have complete understanding how the security product works. And oftentimes these kind of claims they are uh, quoted out of the context and they are motivated as marketing gimmicks. So if you see the human mindset about the word traditional, so traditional means that is existing or which is long established, and it has intrinsic connotations to say like it is old, it is out of date, it is not relevant, and surely there is no harm for replacing it. So now first let's see what is traditional antivirus is, and then we'll see what are next gen security products. So if you want to say in single sentence, what is traditional AV? So it's signature based, blacklisting and a reactive approach, and it has inherent issue in protecting customers as there is a delay involved between the sample is reported to security vendor and by the time protection is available to the customer. So once the samples are reported, they are actually analyzed first by automated systems, and if the behavior is found malicious, then signature is generated for it, which detects this particular set of particular strain of this malware. And now user needs to update their signature database, which happens maybe automatically after a particular interval to get the protection for this particular strain of malware. But over the years, these viruses, they have evolved into multiple categories like worms, backdoors, trojans, macroviruses, spywares, adwares, roguewares, and recently we are seeing ransomwares and advanced threats. So they are adding complexity by having polymorphism, different packers, scripters, custom wrappers, obfuscators, and the list goes on. And with the wide usage of internet, infection vectors like messaging applications, emails, phishing, spamming, social networks, so they are adding fuel to the growth of malware. And now we see that each part of the computer system is getting targeted, like various file formats like RTF, PDF, SWF, Office, even runtime environments like Java, web browsers, operating systems, databases, web applications, and with social engineering, they are taken to the new heights. And we also have fileless malware attacks, where malware doesn't have any footprint on the file system of the computer, so it just runs out of the memory. So the point is, traditional approach for detecting such malwares with file-based detections with checksums and patterns, it is not sufficient. And to cater evolving and exponentially growing uh, malwares, we need to come up with new approach. So now we'll look into in nutshell what is next gen security products are. So here we see like there is a big change in the approach how the threats are detected. So what happens? The endpoints, they are actually acting as the sensors. They have various components for monitoring all your running applications for its activity on the system, like file creation, registry access, its network connections, process and threat activity. And based on the anomalies found behavior wise, it detects malware. So now it's no longer dependent on the signature based approach, and it communicates to centralized threat intelligence for its validation on the actions at the endpoints. And these products, they are also context aware, and they use indicator of compromise for detections. And this threat intelligence is shared by all the users. So ideally we expect that there is no latency by the time protection is available in the threat intelligence and customer gets it. And even there are some products, next gen products, which works at the perimetry of the enterprise, where they scan incoming web traffic, email messages. And for such perimeter security products, at times they claim that they even don't need to have endpoint protection. So now it sounds great. So now the ground is set. So now we'll move on to the part of the important part of the presentation, that is common myths which are around about these next gen security products. So there are these are misconceptions or half truths. I'll be discussing these 5 myths around next-gen products. To start with, machine learning that solves all your security problems. Then malware behavior is not changing, so with malware behavior-based detections, we can detect everything. Then some claim sandbox is cure for all advanced threats, and some claim that traditional antiviruses, they are just signature-based. And by having all this, like threat intelligence is also, people say like it will do all your job. And I'll say, so these are all great technologies like machine learning, behavior based detection, sandboxes, threat intelligence. So they are very much required for having complete security product and better protection. But however, if they are used independently, they are not sufficient in themselves to provide the complete protection. So now let's see each one of these myths one by one. So the first one is machine learning solves all problems. So machine learning starts with the hypothesis that how machine learning is applied in most of the areas of life, like how it is effective. So why not to use it for computer security? So considering the problem of exponentially growing number of threats, the idea of machine learning is first we need to create known good and bad samples, and then we extract features from them, and then splitting these train set, splitting this set into train and test set. So for this, then we select an appropriate machine learning algorithm based on the features selected, and then we create a machine learning based model, and then it is tuned for desired accuracy. So now this machine learning model is used to classify unknown samples as clean or malicious. And at times it works like magic. However, its effectiveness actually depends on accurate feature engineering. And there are challenges that needs to be taken care of when it comes to scaling machine learning to big number of samples. And it also requires good amount of efforts and very strong domain expertise to capture and convert the information that is present in the malware samples into actual correct features, which will help finally to classify samples correctly. And even if you see this machine learning model, that is also static, and threats they keep on changing. So we need to continuously keep updating these models as well. But the frequency is not high as the updates that are required for checksum and pattern-based detections. So the other point we have is like this machine learning approach. It also suffers from false positives and false negatives. So practically it's difficult to achieve 100% detections and zero false positives with machine learning model. So, but however, the idea is the machine learning approach helps us to detect large number of samples that are mass malwares with minimum efforts. Uh, and I'm not very sure about how machine learning models will be useful about against advanced threats. In case of advanced threats, they are very specific, targeted, and in case they are even unknown samples. And even we have when we have very less number of samples, in case of advanced threats, so it's really challenging to build a machine learning based model for them. And there is interesting phenomenon called as GIGO in machine learning front, that is garbage in, garbage out. Uh, so people feel like machine learning works like magic box. So we can feed anything from one side and then expect all great things to happen as a result and with 100% accuracy. However, let's say if we put garbage as an input, it's naturally garbage will come as an output, except the cases like garbage or waste processing units. And I'll share some examples on this front when couple of so-called next-gen AVs which claim they're having based machine learning based antivirus engines and how they actually fail miserably in front of the whole world. So let's wait for some more slides in the middle of the presentation. I'll share my findings with that experiment. It's actually interesting. So next myth is malware behavior does not change. Some product claim that. So what they claim that they have included all possible malicious behaviors in their product, and it will detect all the malware attacks just based on its behavior. So in a way, we are putting restrictions on the malware writers or attackers to follow this set of behaviors or rules which are embedded in these security products. However, in practice, we see like how malware behaviors are changing and adapting over the years. So take a case of ransomware, which are encrypting ones. So in the first generation, they were enumerating files starting with C drive, looking for specific set of file extensions, and then they start encrypting them. They might be using some different various algorithms for encryption like AES, RSA. So they have done the changes in the next variants. So where they have started injecting their code into system processes. That was helping them to avoid monitoring by security applications and blocking. And in the initial variants, they were using hard-coded encryption keys, which are now they have moved to using asymmetrical keys for each infection. Now they have started infecting even system files. They are modifying master boot record, master file tables, and they are using mechanisms like brute force attack for RDP as well. There is change in the mechanism of using the script programming language. Like initially, they were system applications. Now they are using scripting languages like JavaScript, WScript, PowerShell for doing encryption of the files. So, which may be missed by at times behavior-based monitoring systems. So the point is this malware behavior is changing. So security products also needs to keep adapting to it. And we also have some categories of malwares like adware, out of which some execute in the context of web browser as plugins or BHOs, and there is category of malwares called as potentially unwanted applications, PUAs, uh, which behavior is very similar to at times some clean applications, and it is really difficult to have behavior based detection for these categories of malwares. So even the policies that are used for behavior based detections, that helps to detect a lot of malwares, like uh, here some of them are mentioned in the presentation. Program executed from temp location, it is adding its entry to autorun, it is having self delete functionality, it is doing process following, etc. So at times these kind of behaviors they are common with some clean applications, and to reduce such false positives we need to use a reputation or whitelisting kind of approach. So the point is behavior based detections on its own, they cannot block and protect from all categories of malwares, and on the other hand we see that malware behavior is changing and evolving. So the myth that malware behavior does not change doesn't hold. And now we'll move on to the third myth, that is sandbox that is cure for all advanced threats. If you see traditionally all the security vendors, we have kind of in-house automations that runs the suspicious samples under controlled environment, and based on its behavior we classify it based along with the combination of some static properties as clean or malicious. So in this new approach, there are some security companies, they come up with sandbox appliances where the incoming email attachments and file coming from internet, they are executed for behavioral analysis, and even this is done at times at the customer end in the appliance, or they support kind of cloud hosted environments. So such closed sandboxes at times they have advantage as they are not exposed to the attackers. However, even they are susceptible to other sandbox evasion techniques that are used in malwares to detect the presence of sandbox. They can do delay the execution of payload until user had some interaction like clicking and mouse movements, and they check for the signs of the real system, like whether there are some documents available in documents folder, download folder. They will check for the temporary internet files. And on the other hand, one point we see that oftentimes these sandbox appliances, uh, sandbox appliances, they even work in passive mode, and which is not inline mode. So if you see in detail how the analysis is performed in sandbox appliance, so it even monitors the web traffic for known malicious URLs, and it stops malware based on blocklisted net blocks, then malware domains, and even snort rules. And then next step is it does static analysis of transferred files from web attachments or file transfers using YARA rules and some analysis scripts which are embedded. And finally, it does is like it traces the execution of transferred file in instrumented virtual machine. So once the execution trace is generated, so pattern matching for known malicious behavior is performed on that. And even like in case of targeted malware, so these targeted malwares often they are built for specific system configuration, So such malwares, they work in staged manner. So where the first stage, it acts as downloader and it collects and sends the fingerprint from the target environment. So the next part of the malicious component, uh, it will just work for the specific environment. So in this case, the sandbox approach may not work. So it mainly, if you see the sandbox approach, it also mainly utilizes blacklisting and identification of known malicious behaviors apart from using threat intelligence. So now we'll move on to the next part, that is myth number 4. So people say that traditional antivirus is just signature based. So when someone says traditional uh, antivirus is signature based, so here signature means they are using checksum or hash of a file or some patterns from the file. So I'll say I think either these people they have limited understanding of how security product work, or they want to intentionally overlook at the complete picture of the security product. So if you see in detail uh, of the security product, apart from signature based detections, there are many other ways of malware detections which are used in AV products. Like we have algorithmic scanning, emulator based scanning, we have heuristic detections which are based on anomalies found in the files, samples. Even security products, we have machine learning based approach where there are models which are shipped as part of scan engine and with the combination of cloud-based detections. And apart from these mechanisms, endpoint protection system, they have other components like real-time behavior-based detections. We have anti-exploit detections, which checks for memory corruption, stack execution, data execution prevention, and we have firewall and IPS and other web security components. So if you see like even every certification organizations, they allow security products to use cloud-based detections, and in the test criteria of whole product detection test, the scoring that is done, it's done in multiple levels, uh, where they are giving ratings based on how security product is detecting and preventing infection at different stages. Like first is when malicious URL is visited, second is when exploits getting downloaded, third step is like when download is it is saved on actually your file system, and maybe the last is when actually payload is getting executed in and getting into action. So AV security company, AV certification companies, they check how well the product is capable of doing containment and remediation of this malware once the system is compromised in their cleanup tests as well. So when someone labels existing security vendors as traditional AV and hence they are just signature based, actually it's not based on the ground truth, and it is not based on the complete understanding of the security products. Now we'll move on to the fifth hype about threat intelligence. So some of the next-gen security vendors, they want to identify themselves as different from the crowded threat intelligence space by calling competitive threat intelligence feeds as legacy, and they are just signature-based uh, intelligence. So if you look at what are the indicators of compromise, IOCs, what are they? So they are even hash of a malware sample like MD5, SHA. They are domain names or URLs, IPv4, file paths, and even they might be doing kind of blocking based on malicious scripts, based on patterns for some prevalent exploit kits. So the idea is taking feeds from threat intelligence community and doing aggregation of multiple threat intelligence feeds. It actually will give the best results for protection. But here is a small catch, like even at times these updates happens hourly basis. So there is still small window which in that window user may get compromised. So So these are the 5 myths I have tried to uh, give some highlights on that. So moving on to the next interesting point, that is virus total and next gen AVs. So as you all might be knowing, virus total is a kind of online portal uh, where you can submit malware or URL scanning, and anyone could upload a suspicious file and check its report uh, with multiple antivirus scanner results. And in exchange, actually antivirus companies actually receives undetected malicious samples, and they use it for improving the protection for their users. So this is an ecosystem where everyone contributes, everyone benefits. We work together to improve computer security. uh, One interesting event happened in May 2016 with respect to VirusTotal. So VirusTotal announced a policy for maintaining a healthy community. So this is what they have mentioned, and it also mentioned guidelines for users, like VirusTotal should not be used to uh, generate comparative metrics between different antivirus products, because antivirus engine is a sophisticated tool along with command line scanners for detection features. But in my opinion, what I see, like VirusTotal is mostly abused platform by next gen, so-called next gen AVs. So when they want to showcase their capabilities to their potential customers in their demos, at times they create kind of custom program, which will have kind of malicious behavior. And in the demo next gen product, they'll show how this malicious program is detected based on its functionality by this next gen technology based on its behavior. And then they will go ahead and upload this file on VirusTotal, or they will do hash lookup to show that how no other antivirus is detecting it. So using VirusTotal to compare AV protection is not a correct way. So I'd like to talk about the experiment that I have done with respect to VirusTotal. So something interesting happened in August 16 after this blog was published in May 2016. So there were two next-gen AV scanners got added to VirusTotal. I don't want to name these AVs in my presentation, so let's call first one as NGAV1. AV1 that comes with jazzy claim that industries based machine learning next gen AV, and then GAV2, which calls itself with machine learning engine, which is designed to identify previously unknown malware. So great. So I have taken one random sample with this MD5, and uh, I've done some tampering with this sample. What I've done is I've just truncated it from the bottom, and I just continued it till I just left with some header of the file. So this is actually executable file. So I have uploaded this sample to VirusTotal, and then here are the detections. So NGAV1 detected with some name, NGAV2 detected with 100% confidence, and there were 40 other AVs up from the list of 56 AVs which are detecting this malware. Then I truncated it. I go on truncating this malware. Finally, I just left with its header. So uh, let's say if you have some experience with malware analysis, so you can see from the detection names for NGAV1, uh, the case is very clear that this NGAV1 is following traditional AV for its detection names, and NGAV2, it is detecting the file just based on the properties in the file header. So which is a very problematic issue. So if the sample is truncated, it is not having any malicious content, I think this malware sample should not be detected. So in India, uh, so one needs to have a very good understanding of the malware is and how the threats, so that the this understanding that can be translated into features, and how these features could help us to generate machine learning based models. So here we can see that this approach with machine learning is not working in case of these two next gen AVs. So next we'll move on to the comparison that is done by AV comparative for some next gen products. So this kind of comparison was not available lately, but in September 2016, AV comparative they have tested and included report for 4 products. So they have mentioned some interesting findings in their report. So some of the products in this review, they just provide the logging and the analysis of threats rather than actually protecting this. And in some cases, protection features, they are not activated by default and they need to be enabled and configured by administrators before they can be used. So now, so even like some of the next gen products, its trial version is not available for all the customers. In fact, even this next gen AV vendors, they try avoid giving their products publicly tested and independently scrutinized. So AV comparative, they have done 2 tests. One is malware protection and second is false positive test. So here you can see the results. So in case of malware protection, the detection rates are quite high and they are great. On the next slide, we see the exploit test that they have done using 21 exploits, and the scoring is based on detection and protection at various stages. And in case of some products, they have detected the attack, and in the other cases, they have just reported the alert. However, the system was compromised, and some are missed, and some of the malware infections were missed, which resulted in the system compromised without detection. So it's a great initiative where we can see how the next gen products are compared. And on the other side, so these are some of the summary points from their comparison. So if you sum up, if you look at even Quickly Antivirus and its endpoint protection, so it's not just a signature-based approach; it's a layered security approach where we have multiple detection technologies like signature-based detections, machine learning, behavior-based detections, network-level web security. So the myth that AV program is just signature-based, it does not hold. It's now clear, and even user needs to be protected against advanced threats, and at the same time they need to protect it from other malwares like adware, PUAs and ransomwares. So what is missing is uh, we need to have a right expectations from antivirus product. So some say that if you don't detect 100%, then you just provide 0% protection. And ransomware is a nuisance in the recent years. And oftentimes we often find that uh, user doesn't understand the importance of data classification and protection, and unless one encounters ransomware attack or the data is lost by some accident. So we need to have proper data classification and backup process in place for data protection, and even with the addition of mobile devices and IoTs, uh, more risk is added to the enterprises. So for that, we need to have a specialized security products uh, for protection. So the saying is, "Ain't a horse that can be rode, and ain't a man that can be throwed." So there could be some specific solutions that we work for specific businesses like banking and virtualized environments. But when it comes to the other cases where there are open policies and not tight configurations, so it can be compromised. And if you move on to the next important threat, that is insider threats. So insider threats can be of different types. Like they can be compromised users where their machines are infected with some malware. They can be negligent users, or they can be intentional or motivated to carry out data exfiltration. So we call them as walking security threats to the organization and even to the nation's security. And recently we have witnessed biggest and dramatic US elections maybe last month, where which was rocked by DNC and DCCC leaks, and after that the disclosure on WikiLeaks. So apart from the political impact that this kind of attacks they have brought to the light, from the computer security perspective, I look at these attacks which are much more dangerous than the Stuxnet and Duqu attack. I don't align with myself with any of these political ideologies, but however, I put highlight on the growing problem with the security companies that needs to be faced in the coming years, and we're already uh, we are ready for these kind of cyber attacks which are changing and shaping the world of the fate of the whole world. So we need to have security products that will cater to these kind of attacks. So with that, I'd like to move on to the conclusion slide. So hope I have made efforts to make it clear that antivirus AV is not just signature based, and there are a lot of many other components like behavior based machine learning, anti-exploit, network based detection mechanisms that are in place, and the threat intelligence, it plays a important role in that. So there is no silver bullet as such. That will solve all security problems. So we need to move on to like thread-centric approach for security technologies and products. Uh, and we need to constantly keep on changing based on the threat landscape. So AV may be missing in action because they are not making into news. However, everyone needs to go beyond the next gen hype and keep constantly working towards making cyber world safe and secure place to grow and live. With that, I'd like to conclude the presentations, and I'll open this session for questions.